Hey everyone, it's Steve from Fortyfit Training, and I'd like to show you a little class on squatting and home training. So starting off with air squats, the very most basic kind of squat that you can do, just using your own body weight. So how do we set up for this exercise? Well, feet approximately shoulder width apart, toes pointing at 10 to 2. And what we want is for our body to descend into the gap between our legs. Okay, so it should look something like this. If we use our hands just as a counterbalance and keep them up here, and we want to try and we're aiming to keep our torso as upright as possible, and we hinge at both the hips and the knees at roughly the same time and descend down to as far as possible that feels comfortable, and then we move right back up again. What that looks like from the side. So again, get the foot placement correctly, hands up, and we want to try and descend to as low as we possibly can while still keeping our back as straight. So we don't want to have this kind of curvature going on. So some problems that we can have with the squat. I'll start off with every coach's pet hate, and you see this in the gym all the time. It's like quarter squats or half squats, or people's interpretation of a squat. So they get under a ginormous big barbell packed out to the rims with 5 kilo plates, so it looks really large and intimidating, and then they do a squat that looks about a quarter of the distance that they should be going down. Very impressive. So we want to try and avoid doing half measures or half squats or quarter squats. Time and a place for them, but maybe at the advanced stages of somebody's sporting career. So right now, for home training and for all intents and purposes, what we want to have is some full range of motion squats. In our 40s, we want to look after our mobility and maintain as much of our range of motion on every exercise that we do as possible. Another problem that I see is sometimes the knees caving in, and this is just this is lack of stability in the quadriceps muscles around your knees, and probably a lack of focus on what you actually need to be doing. A lot of people just don't realize that they're doing that. So I'll come back to that in a minute. So we've done the height and we've done knees caving in. Another problem that you can see quite a lot is because people just don't have the flexibility or mobility, and they end up in a squat that looks a lot like this. So they get down to the bottom position, but the back is caved in and you don't really have a lot of support. Mix that up with quite a heavy load on your back, and it's just a recipe for disaster with your lower back. And you'll end up forking out a lot of money to a chiropractor. So what are some of the ways that we can take this air squat back and train it in properly from the start so that we can reach our desired goals? Okay, we can use a chair, but the way that we use the chair is important. So chair like this is probably not going to be much good. Yes, we get the right height to descend to. The way to have the chair is in this kind of position here, so that we can straddle either side with our legs. So what that looks like, get our feet positioning, try and straddle the chair, descend down, hinge at the hips and the knees, and we can come back up again. Okay, so obviously you're not getting a lot of depth on this squat, but what we're focusing on is trying to get the knees to track over the toes, get this gap that we need in the middle of our in between our legs, so that we can actually descend down into it. So that's a good way to start. And as I'm Irish, part-time leprechaun, I have one of these. So when you become professional at descending down to the depth that chair requires, you can try this. A lot lower. Obviously easier for me because I'm quite short, but get the appropriate foot stance again. Shoulder width apart, feet pointing at 10 to 2. And we're aiming to keep our chest up and proud. Maybe pick a point at eye level that you can focus on. You don't want to have your head pointed up the sky, but find something at eye level that you can maintain the gaze at. So again, descend all the way down, and we go all the way back up. Okay. Purpose of this exercise is really, it's a fundamental exercise that engages the muscles of the quadriceps, the hamstring muscles, and the glutes. and your core and your lumbar spine for stability purposes. Hamstrings. So what we're aiming to do is engage as much muscle as possible and get the best bang for our buck. So it's not about being doing form policing. It's just about doing the exercise correctly so that you can get the most benefits from it whilst maintaining the integrity of your joints. If you try and maintain good form and exercise, I'm not saying that you will never get injured, but you will slow down that process or maybe stop it completely. And you will engage the most muscles possible to get the best bang for your buck and dominate fitness in your 40s. So thank you very much for watching, and if you would like to subscribe to the channel, hit the link down below, or have a look for some more information, you can check out my website or see me on Facebook or Twitter. Thanks, bye-bye.